188. Page 188, bottom paragraph. He had said, bottom paragraph, that if a person reflects just on the human being, on human makeup, how every one of the parts of the body complements one another, how it functions as a total entity, although each part is unique and special. No, the brain is special. I mean, whatever. No, you could build a computer the size of the Twin Tower. It's not the equivalent of the brain. The brain is something, they still haven't figured out exactly what exactly the chemical activity, how that generates all the various processes of the brain. But the brain without, if it's not part of the body, doesn't function. It's only, everything complements everything else and supports everything else. So the wisdom, the genius, and the function, and the actually application of everything, it's something which is amazing. You see, Chochmas Hashem, you see, God's genius is an understatement to the nth degree of what it is. Who's amazed? Who's amazed? Many years ago, there was an article. Years ago, people, used to read a magazine. It was called Reader's Digest. Right? What? I know it still exists. You wouldn't put money into it as an investment. Okay, good. So, but they had an article. It was written by a doctor, a gastrologist, and he had written about the various, the small intestine, large intestines, and the movement, what's it called, the peristalsis. The way every aspect of just that part, that system, the digestive system, and it was a non-Jew wrote the article. How is it possible that a person could deny the existence of God? No, that was his point. The bracha we say, Asher Yotzer, and what we articulate there to identify how amazing it is that if just this area wouldn't function, a person couldn't live. You would die. A person has a blockages in the intestines. Forget about the pain. A person would die. If the body, the impurities of the body wouldn't be expelled from the body, a person would die. It's amazing, besides the process. So what about the totality of the human being? How amazed are we? Here, this non-Jew is writing just about that part, that process, the digestive process, the elimination process. Mis'ache b'mariso, mischalik b'tvov. It's all united the way it appears. Mischalik b'tvov. But in terms of its function, each one has its unique function. V'chiber elov etzem ruchoni aviri. And God infused into it a spiritual component, aviri. Doma lu ruchni yisha melyonim. Similar to what? To the spirituality of what? Of angels. The neshama is even greater than angels. The soul is even greater, but it's of that type of spirituality. That's the soul. The essence of a person is soul. It's interesting. There's a Chaim HaKodesh. He writes that what gives a person relevance to spirituality is neshama. So when we do something, we activate spiritual forces because we have a neshama. An animal does anything. It's an animal because the animal has no choice. An animal has no relevance to anything which relates to the spiritual realm. But a human being, being a composite of physical, spiritual, so because we have a soul which has relevance to that aspect of existence, the spiritual realm of existence, so when we make the choice, positive, negative, we activate those forces. Either we curtail them or we energize them. So he writes over there, the Gemara tells us in Brochus, that Rishoim b'chaim kuriyim mesim. That a Rosha, even when he's alive, he's called Mes. So he cites a Zohar, the Chaim HaKodesh, that when we're talking about a person who's truly a Rosha, his soul is removed from him, and all he has is a nefesh. is a life source. So therefore, that's why it's called mess. The human being's alive because you have a soul. So we're not talking about you functioning as a living organism. You're more than a living organism. You're functioning as a human being, which is what? A human being's supposed to have a soul. It's like there's an expression, the man has no soul. When he has no soul, he's alive. No, he has no soul. And it's rooted in the Zohar. A person could be evil that he has no soul. When he does tshuva, the neshama is returned to him. So when do you have that dimension of you're similar to the angels? If you're not the Rosha. And that's the essence of the person. The essence of the person is a soul. He bound to the body by means adapted to both of these extremes. It's interesting, the Rechaim Kodesh writes in one location that we know fire and water cannot coexist. He says it's easier to combine fire and water than the soul to the body. In terms of that's how different they are. How do you take something which is totally spiritual and connect it and infuse it to something which is physical? Within the realm of understanding, it's an impossibility. It's only God could do it. He says it's easier to combine fire and water than the neshama to the guf. Those are the words of Orach Chaim HaKodesh. The Gemara says in Brochos. That just as God exists within existence, is everything, but we don't see God. But the reason why every aspect of existence exists is because God is associated with that aspect, otherwise it couldn't exist. Identically, the reason why the body, just as God permeates existence, the neshama permeates every part of the body. So the neshama, even though it's, we mentioned, it hovers over the head, because there were only two human beings in the history of existence where the neshama was within the body. Originally it was Adam, but once his body was putrefied because the Eitz Hadas, then the neshama is above the head. But Moshe Rabbeinu is the only other human being that the neshama is within his body, because his body was so spiritualized, so pure, therefore it was the proper location for the neshama. Okay? But the effect of the neshama, why does your hand operate? Right? It's not only because of the nefesh. The Gemara says because the neshama is in every part of your body. The body functions in every of its aspects. There's neshama in every part of the body. It affects every part of the body, the neshama. So it comes out, we say that we have Ramach Mitzvah Aseg, 248 positive commandments. And we say the 248 positive commandments correspond to 248 parts of the body, because there's Ramach Ivorim, right? So what does that mean? And the Chovot Chaim cites the Rav Chaim Vital, who was the primary Talmud of the Arizal, that he says that when every mitzvah aseh just nourishes spiritually that aspect of the neshama, just as you have 248 components, parts of the body, 248 components in the neshama. So there's a certain correlation, correspondence between the mitzvah aseh and the neshama. So you put on tefillin, it addresses one aspect of your neshama. You do give tzedakah, another aspect. You eat matzah, another aspect. And everything you do corresponds to another aspect. So that's part of the spiritualization. But that's the neshama, right? That's the soul. So we see the neshama is ramach, and the body is ramach. So therefore, the neshama has relevance to every part of the human body. Every part of the human body. Therefore, the Rabbeinu Yonah cites a Chazal, Rabbeinu in the Shari Tshuva, that it says that if a person does a sin with his hand, you should do a mitzvah with that same hand. If a person steals, besides, of course, you should return what you stole, you should give tzedakah with the hand. You saw things, inappropriate things with your eyes, you should study Torah with those same eyes. And that's a correction. Whatever way you damage, you should spiritualize them, similar as you damage them spiritually, to rehabilitate them. The rehabilitation is to use that part of the body within the context of spirituality. This is Rabbeinu Yonah. To be continued. So that has to do Eino Chanami. But either it's a Ravos, Kolish are Raven. But today we have no Beis Hamikdash. It's a problem. We're handicapped. We are handicapped. No, sir. That's a Ravos, Kolish are Raven Selusa. But even today, they decided that in the Shalom Parms was saying, just as if you say parshas, if you study a mitzvah, it's as if you fulfilled the mitzvah. So therefore, let's say a person is not able to do Shluch HaKan. You can't do it. So you study the laws of Shluch HaKan, it's as if you sent away the bird, the mother bird. Right? No, you have to, no, it's not enough. You have to, the Chovot HaLevavos says you have to understand the intricacies of the mitzvah. If you don't understand the intricacies of the mitzvah, it's not as if you did the mitzvah. Okay? When it says, Kom Parshas Tomit Kilu Hikra, you have to understand all the intricacies of Avodah. A person just understands the words, but he doesn't understand all the ramifications and intricacies. You know, it's not Kilu Hikra of Korban. He cites Rishonim on this. It's not himself. That's physical blindness. It says, the Gemara says that if a person takes large strides when he walks, it diminishes his eyesight. Right? So the Gemara says, and when is it restored? It says when you drink Kiddush and you look at the Neiru Shabbos. That will restore the physical deficiency that came about through exertion during the week.
I was saying that our goal in this world is to create that combination by working on making it physical.
No, we are that. We are a spiritual being that's infused in the physical body. The objective is to spiritualize the body.
Right.
See, once the body's spiritualized, then it's a natural. Then the location is the proper location for the neshama, because the neshama spiritualized the body. But initially, when you start off, you have something which is totally physical and something that's totally spiritual. How do you connect them?
You have to be working on it.
I understand that. You don't have to work on that. It's that. God did that for you. What is our response? What is the objective in our life? To make enough positive choices to spiritualize ourselves, to spiritualize our physicality. Okay? When you put tefillin on your hand, you're spiritualizing your hand. And your heart and your brain, your mind, when you put tefillin sharosh on your mind, on your head. That corresponds to the brain, the thought process. Look, when you eat, if you eat, do you eat to live or do you live to eat? Also, but it's not enough that. The question, what's the objective of the eating? So if you have the proper thing, then the eating becomes a spiritual act. You're spiritualizing the food. Right? I'll give you an example. If you wear a black hat on Shabbos and a tishbekish, and you want to be a role model for people to be inspired, okay? That becomes a holy tishbekish. Okay? Okay?